So you are known, and I've compared you recently. Somebody called me at the Washington Post, and I said, you remind me of Bill Simmons, because Simmons' love for the Celtics was so pure and authentic, it didn't bother me that they were his team. And I feel that with Kansas City. I see the passion, I see the love. But, Bill throws his vulnerability out there. Sometimes this analysis, you show no signs of lack of confidence. No. There has to be something with this stacked Eagles roster.
Well, the Eagles can win.
Okay, what second quarter, forget score, second quarter, what is going to worry you if you see it happening?
I mean, if Jalen Hurts is playing great. I mean, the Chiefs are going to make Jalen Hurts beat them. And everyone points to the performance in the last Super Bowl, and Jalen Hurts was excellent.
Excellent.
The problem, the flip side of that coin is he hasn't played that level of game one time since then. He's come close a couple times, but he has not been able to duplicate that performance once since then. The other thing that would concern me a bit if I were an Eagles fan is there's an amazing clip of the young rookie defenders the Chiefs had from that Super Bowl in the final moments saying to each other, bro, we don't even know the scheme, and we just won the Super Bowl. So it is that, because that was the draft class that had Karlaftis, McDuffie, Joshua Williams, Leo Chenal, all those guys who are now, third-year players, not quite veterans, but close to it. So I just think the Chiefs are going to be better prepared. But the Eagles are an excellent team. Their problem is they're playing a team that, even though they were negged all year by the media, is going to go down as the greatest team ever. This is the greatest football team ever. This Kansas City Chiefs team, going for a three-peat. They beat every single AFC playoff opponent. They beat every NFC playoff opponent they had. One team beat them. They then got back at them in the Bills in the playoffs. They're the healthiest they've been all year. There's no shame for Philadelphia in not winning this game. And, yes, Philadelphia can win it. But, man, I think the Chiefs are even still a touch underrated by only being 1.5 favorites.
I've said this, and I'm glad Matt Hasselbeck pointed this out, that when an athlete is super talented, we tend to forget all the tedious practices. Like there's no, all great players have insane work ethics. Like there's no lazy superstars. Charles Barkley was great, but in the end didn't get a title because he didn't work on the defensive end and probably wasn't the practice committed player. And after you start examining Mahomes, and you have a good relationship with him because he knows of your adoration and fanaticism for all things Kansas City, I think people lose it on him, is that his ability to see openings and then let go of the ball. Marino's the only one in my life. Is that I think Patrick, maybe it's the quirky brother or his quirky personality. This is one of the smartest players that's ever played the game. To me, it's insane when you look at the film behind Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
It's Gretzky in hockey.
So it's the play, and they probably can't pull it up right now, but at some point before the game, you should have them pull this because it was like lost in the wash of the AFC Championship game. What you're describing is shown perfectly on the 2-point conversion pass to Justin Watson in the back of the end zone against Buffalo, which was a huge play because they were down 1. So that you get the 2-point conversion, now you're up the full touchdown. If not, you're only up 5, and it feels a little anxiety. There is no opening. There is nothing, and he is off balance moving in the pocket, and he sees it and hits it, and it is exactly what you're describing. What is remarkable about Patrick, singularly, is his ability this early in his career to identify the exact type of quarterback that team needs that season or that game and be that quarterback. When he got there, it was, well, we have the 29th defense in football, so it better be bombs away at all times. They trade Tyreek Hill, and it's like, oh, okay, we still have prime Kelsey, we have good weapons, but we can't stretch the field. I'm going to dink and dunk my way to the most yards any player's ever had in a season. Broke Drew Brees' record that year, win the MVP. the last couple years. Our wide receiver core last year was not good. This year, banged up. We are going to have to be a possession-based offense, lean on the defense. He can do that. It was not, the only other quarterback who I saw could do that was late-stage Tom. Tom in that 14-18 run, and then, well, I guess further than that, with Tampa, whatever version that team needed he could be. But Tom was 35 years old when that started. Patrick's 29 and already doing it.
I thought I was going to have Roger Goodell on tomorrow. I don't. And one of the things I was going to say is it does, sometimes the NBA, its best players are international, and though they're really skilled and learned and wonderful kids, it would be great if they went to Carolina, Arizona,
Sure.
Gonzaga, and Duke, right? Domestic stars. It's really interesting that the NFL right now, the face of the league is this kind of funny, quirky Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
He's perfect. So he's not too cool that he's off-putting. He's got a flawed enough family. He's let you see the family on Netflix. You got to see all of it. He's in Kansas City where he probably can't go out. I wonder, and you have better insight to this than I would, how he compartmentalizes being the greatest player in the most popular game, yet stays out of trouble, seems completely level-headed, never gets over his skis. There's got to be ego. I never see it.
So I think in an odd way, one of the best things that could have happened to him was the fact that Tom beat him in those playoff games. And I say that, he was asked yesterday, he's like, is there a game you still think about? And he snap answered, yeah, the Super Bowl against Tampa. And if you go back and watch that game, he's running for his life.
Oh, yeah,
it's not like the second half of the AFC Championship game against Cincinnati, he didn't play well and they lost. The Super Bowl against Tampa, there was really nothing he could do. But it's still evidently, is the one he thinks about. But the reason I say that is because he lost that Super Bowl. And because now Tom is, because if he hadn't lost that Super Bowl, we could be saying that after Sunday it is 6-5.
Right.
Super already. Like it's like there is such he is chasing a white whale that had such a massive lead that there is no room for complacency. And because he's almost in the perfect Goldilocks zone of I have distanced myself enough from all of my contemporaries while still being so far away on the accomplishments from what I'm trying to be. Because what he is trying to be, he won't say this, but I know this. What he is trying to be is the greatest football player ever. He's like, he will say everything's about the team, and that's why he's a great leader. But when that's the goal, and the guy you're chasing beat you and is sitting there with 10 Super Bowl appearances and 7 rings, it makes the quest for the three-peat almost necessity. Because it's like, this is Sunday going to be the only time for Patrick in the next 10 years he walks onto a football field and says, if I win, I do something Tom never did.
Right.
Like that's like, no matter how great he is the rest of the way, is Sunday going to be the only chance or his only chance of the next decade to be able to be like, here's a check mark in my column that no one else can do. Because it's not even like undefeated season. It's like, yeah, actually Tom did that too. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
win a bunch of, so that to me has created the laser focus. And I think that also, oddly, I think that his dad, who has kind of been in the rear view, not rear view, but in the background from the media perspective, he obviously, had his own issues. I think his dad is wildly important in that this is a pro athlete who has that athlete's mentality, who still, not only does Patrick look up to him, but early in the year when Patrick was throwing a bunch of picks, I know for a fact his dad hit him up and was like, buddy, your footwork, like clean it up. Like those, so you have someone who really has lived in the spotlight as a pro athlete that keeps you accountable.
Yeah.
You're chasing Tom, and you have the greatest offensive head coach in football history as a sounding board. That's how you can potentially create the greatest football career ever.
You know, I was talking about the Luka, and I'll let you go after this. I said, you know, fans tend to think with the NBA, they go, well, the league wants the Lakers to win. And I said, no, the reason Dallas made a move on Kyrie and Boston made a move last year, those are big markets, and Golden State made a move on Butler, and the Lakers made a move on Luka, because in big cities, Miami is a great example. On the Eastern Seaboard, nobody's made more moves than in the last 20 years than Miami.
Yeah.
Because in big distracted markets, people stop going to games and they stop caring.
Correct.
I mean, Boston had Tatum, Marcus Smart, and Jaylen Brown, and people were like, dissatisfied. Patriots, they won almost every year. You have to make moves. And so when the Lakers made the Luka move, it was funny listening to two Laker fans I know. They're like, well, what's it matter? We can't defend the rim. If Luka goes almost anywhere else, you're like, we won the Powerball. And in L.A., it was like, yeah, we had Magic, Kobe, Shaq, Kareem. We need a big. And so when they made the move for a big that nobody watched outside of Duke, everybody's suddenly like, you know, Mark Williams is something. This is it.
That's right.
And I thought to myself, I thought LeBron and Luka would be fine. But I do think by keeping Austin Reeves with Luka LeBron and Rui size and the Charlotte center, I thought this morning they could get to the final.
Well, listen, Luka owns Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City's great. Luka owns Oklahoma City, so that's a positive check mark. I thought people underrated. I thought J-Mac had it right earlier this week when he said the best duos and had Luka and LeBron first. LeBron at this point, his age is being used against him from a narrative standpoint. When the play, listen, I don't know how he's doing. He's 40 years old in the year 22. He's been one of the 8 best players in the sport.
He's had a great year.
He's been unbelievable. People have assumed he's going to deteriorate in a way that he simply hasn't. Luka by himself is a chance at the finals. We just saw it. And so I was like, those two guys, two smartest players in the league. I think that'll work. They did need some defense, and they needed some size. They got it. So not only do I agree with you, I think as far as moving the needle for a potential finals appearance, as crazy as it sounds, the Lakers adding Mark Williams is more important than the Warriors adding Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the Warriors' path involves Steph being prime Steph. Steph this year has as many games scoring less than 15 as he does scoring 30. Age appears to have hit Steph oddly earlier than it hit LeBron. So Steph is still really good. But that team's not good enough to be a contender unless you have apex Steph. I don't think that player exists anymore. And so then you have really good Jimmy Butler, really good Steph Curry, and pieces. So Jimmy's obviously the bigger transaction. I think Mark Williams, if he's healthy, could have bigger impact. And if because Luka's there, you get a rested LeBron going into the playoffs, man, that's good. I understand, like, people love what the Rockets have built, and I do too. Is anyone really going to feel good about a 3-6 Rockets-Lakers matchup of the Rockets handling Luka Dončić and LeBron James in a 7-game series? I'm not.
Listen, the fact that if I would have told you the Lakers are going to get Luka and a rim protector, and they'll keep Austin Reeves. You know that Charlotte and Dallas asked about Austin Reeves.
Yeah, of course.
And the fact that they retained a first-round pick, that they could use it in the pursuit of Mark Williams.
Well,
Rob Pelinka just got himself Executive of the Year.
The fact that that they gave up a first and a swap in the trade to get Mark Williams, and they gave up just a first in the trade to get Luka Dončić is a bit of an indictment on what Nico Harrison was doing, but that's another discussion.
Nick Wright, first things first, it's after us, it's across the street. I am not going to be responsible for Nick's evenings, only his afternoons.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I'll try to provide a good lead-in for that, my friend.
Good to see you, buddy.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.